good morning. This is Tampa Home Talk. That was a little loud, wasn't it? I'm your host, and we're going to jump into a little bit of market information this morning. I'm joined by my counterparts, barely one of them.
Drive-by insurance tip of the week from Adam Talley.
Literally, we're like turning Adam's mic down as he's rolling in because he's going to be fumbling when we're live.
You know, you live and die by the people in front of you on Livingston sometimes. You know, it's a
good route.
It is a great route, but
air.
yeah, I know. But there was a very, very cautious driver this morning in front of me. How about that?
Cautiously optimistic about the forecast?
Cautiously slow, but, you know, we made it just in time.
Yeah, you literally like skid marks running in here in the chair. And Leo Kane is back this week.
I'm always around until I'm not.
You're going to be missing a little bit of August here.
I'll be gone next week. You know, we just had a storm on the East Coast, so
gotta go to work.
Have storm will travel. Got to go to Melbourne. Got to see the sea turtles. Got to inspect the beaches. You know, the houses on the beaches.
So this is interesting. So this is so what you saw last week, I'm actually seeing this week. In the numbers.
A rebound. I'm seeing a rebound. I'm seeing an increase in the new listings by 20%.
So let's talk about this. And actually, I've got something I want to share.
Pendings are flat, withdrawn.
Well, hold on.
Yeah, so okay. So
last week, there was 984 new listings in the three counties, so Hillsborough, Pasco, Pinellas. This week, we have 1,178 new listings. And the number of sold last week at this time was 1,479. This week it's 1,828. So that's that stuff that we actively feel in the market. And then the pendings last week were 1,728. And this week, 1,689. So this, my friend, is our leading indicator. So that pending, as we start to see the number of new listings go up, and the number of pendings go down, that gives us an idea which way our market is headed. So, as a matter of fact, I want to share something with you. I don't actually have it on my outline, so I got to pull it up in my email. But we, myself included, when I connect with a lot of the best. And so we talked, if you remember, a couple weeks back about these forbearance agreements. All these people that are signing forbearance agreements and all this stuff. And I can tell you there's actually a group of landlords that is looking to sue the state of Florida for impeding on contracts. So that will be interesting. But there's some information here that I had. So across the whole United States, 40% of renters are at risk of being evicted due to late payments. 40%.
That's crazy.
In the whole U.S., if you can believe that.
I can believe that.
And then mortgages, the delinquency rate rose by 7.76% in May, which means there's 4.12 million mortgages in the U.S. that are at least 30 days late. And what they call serious delinquencies, which are 90 days or more, have increased by 50% in the last couple months to 63, a little over 500,000. So 631.
How long do you have to be delinquent before they start foreclosing?
Well, that's a great question because
it used to be 3 days.
Well, no. So these stats are nationwide, and you bring up a great point, Adam.
Sorry, I was talking eviction. You're talking a
little bit of both. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought that up because what people don't realize is in a lot of different states, there's different rules around real estate. So, for example, here in the state of Florida, we're what they call a lien theory state.
Okay.
Which means when you buy your home, you get your deed right away, whether you pay cash or not. The difference is there is a lien on the property in the form of a mortgage, hence a lien theory state. In a title theory state, places like Georgia, it works more like a car, where if you buy your home,
you get your deed.
You don't get the deed until you pay it off. So, with that being said and explaining that, going back to your question.
So it makes it easier to foreclose in Georgia than it does in Florida.
You're absolutely correct. So a foreclosure in a place like Georgia, which is a title theory state, can happen in as quick as 30-ish days.
Wow.
And that's why the judicial process takes so long to get through here in Florida. Banks don't even really, in the state of Florida, they usually don't even start the retaining of an attorney and the foreclosure process period, because they have to retain an attorney before they do the list pendants, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that happens in between, but they typically don't start doing that till at least the 90-day mark.
Wow.
Usually around 90 days, they will go ahead and refer it to a legal office. And then that's when
And the
really...
Les pendants, I know you mentioned a fancy legal term there. Les pendants is basically a lawyer statement in the mail filed with the court system that says, hey, you owe money.
Yeah.
Yeah, so list pendants technically means, like in a title term, that there's something going on with the property. Yeah.
So
which is usually you owe money, but there's something going on with the property.
Follow-up question for you. In a state like Georgia where, it seems like the mortgage company has a little bit more rights, a little bit quicker to the gun.
They technically own the property until you pay it off.
Is it easier to get a mortgage in Georgia then than it is here?
I don't know, because I've
they have
only...
that,
I don't
it's a
know.
little
Yeah.
more tangible for them.
Ultimately, banks don't want
imagine
property.
it's the
They
same.
want money. So.
Yeah. They want money, they want interest,
think-
they want people that pay on time.
Yeah, I think that the fact that they can foreclose faster doesn't factor in if they, at the end of the day, they just want money.
They don't want to foreclose.
They don't want to
theoretically.
foreclose it. They want money.
Now, I think in this next wave that we're going to see, because we get all the time, I had this huge debate yesterday with somebody that came in for an interview, if you can believe it, about...
Wait, you let people in for interviews?
we do our initials on Zoom, and then when we go through our formal interview process, there's a lot of details, we let them in for that.
Okay.
So it's not a lot. It's a very select few. But anyway, we had this whole thing, and she made a comment that the market is going to crash like it did in 2006, right? Or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, no, this market is not going to crash like it did before. And she's like, well, yeah, it's all about opinion, and everybody has different opinions, blah, blah. I said, no, it's not a matter of opinion. It's a matter of fact. Let me explain to you why.
So did she get the job?
She's still interviewing with us. She's still interviewing.
She's arguing with the boss in the interview about market trends.
Strong start.
Actually, I really appreciate people that challenge my point of view. I do. I appreciate people that challenge my point of view and will share.
That's why Adam and I are sitting on each side of you.
I love it. But the point is, like, and I told her, I go, look, here's the thing. Let's just share a story, right? You spend $300,000 for a property. Let's just use that nice, even round number. It's pretty common in our market area. Yeah.
Average house.
And let's say you moved from New York. So you sold your crappy little apartment in the city with no yard, and now you're able to pay cash for a beautiful home here with a yard and maybe even a pool, right? And you paid cash for that home, okay? Now, something happens. You lose your spouse. God forbid you lose a child. Something happens that makes you want to make a move, right? You have a baby.
Can it be a bear attack?
Whatever. There's reasons, right, that make people want to move.
A bear attack happened in the backyard. The German Shepherd was injured. I just got to give context.
This is random. Like, where? Okay.
Where are we going? Let's get there.
All
Let's
right.
do this.
I'm building towards Katrina's
Bring it
tractor
home.
story.
So let's say that
there's
Leo.
a tractor story
Let's
now.
say,
Hold on a second.
We'll save that for the end of the hour. So let's say Leo has him and his wife finally, they just have kids. He said they weren't, but let's say his wife gets pregnant and now they have twins, and they decide this little bungalow in Ybor City is not quite where we want to raise our kids.
It's a palatial estate. I've been there
this
before.
this 5-bedroom house is too small for one more.
So I'm just saying, let's say
Let's go back to the bear attacks the German Shepherd in your backyard in
Leo
the swimming pool.
does not like the topic of having kids, especially twins. Anyway, so let's say this happens, right? And for whatever reason, you want to make a move, right? You're in inner city Tampa. Something could happen. You guys could get attacked, and
Let's say you get robbed.
decide
You're
you don't wanna live there
I don't wanna-
anymore."
I don't want to live where I got robbed.
it happens, right? So you paid $300,000 cash for that home. Now, let's imagine this is a year or so from now. The market's not what it is right now. We are in that dip that I've been talking about,
Yeah.
right? Or, and this is what I compared to. Basically, in the crash, literally properties were worth half what you paid for them. And the reason why is the builders were increasing prices $5,000 a week, which is not normal.
Right.
Okay. So you had all this crazy, like, not real inflation
Hyperinflation.
because you had not real buyers that were actually buying. So it made it's like going to an auction and more than 50% of the people don't have real money to buy it. Like, it's just not a real market.
Right.
And so that's the market that we were in. And so what I explained to her was, if you were a buyer in that time and you either put down 20% or paid cash or whatever, and now you have this life event where you want to move and you paid $300 and your house is now worth $150, what are you going to do?
Well, here's the interesting part. If you have equity in the home at the 150, you got to live somewhere. So if the market crashes, all property is depressed. So you sell your home for 150, and then you buy another home that's equally depressed for 50% off.
Yes. Some people will take that route. What would you do, Adam, if you paid $300,000 for a property and you need
for
this?
a home inspector that's also
We
a
had no
licensed
music.
engineer?
Well, good morning. Welcome back. This is Leo Kane with Barrel Engineering and Inspection. When we last left, we were talking about Katrina's tractor story.
Well, we had a little bit of a broadcast snafu. Like,
Yeah, we went straight into commercial.
we didn't hear any bumper music.
No bumps.
That's how you know this is live programming.
It's live,
you know?
yeah. Commercial comes in whether we stop talking or not.
You know those blooper reels have the anchors on those talk shows? They just sit there and they're waiting for the cue into a segment,
Yeah.
and they're just sitting there doing stuff. We did the opposite. We just
Yeah.
talked right over our commercial and outro.
So anyway, let's go back to the story real quick, and then we're
Okay.
going to get to our guest. So if it's that time and you paid $300 for your property, it's now worth $150, and yours is a good example, Adam, right? Because
Right.
you're in a small condo. The place is too small now, right, for a baby, or if you have twins,
Yeah.
and you
Which
need to
is
move.
which could happen for us.
Okay, so
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
say
yeah.
you have twins. So now you've outgrown your place.
Wait, do you have a history of twins?
My wife's dad is a twin, and her mom's dad is a twin.
Oh yeah, so very real. So
Okay.
the property's worth $150. What are you going to do? You paid real money, either a significant down payment or the whole thing in cash.
So I guess it depends on the amount of equity I have in there. I'd probably still you'd have to move. You can't raise twins in a 1,000 square foot apartment, so you got to go.
Yeah, but that buys you time. I mean, the twins can live in the master bedroom with you for the first, year and a half?
Easy.
Yeah, so
But
I
it
mean,
might take that long to find a property we like. We're picky.
So here's the thing. I mean, if you're somebody like me and you're naturally a saver, I'm not selling my property for $150 that I spent $300 for. I'm just not doing it. I'm going to rent it out and I'm going to buy another property. Me personally,
Right.
okay? And so that's what a lot of people do, or they will look at it like Leo said, where, okay, now I'm getting my next property a significant discount, so I'm selling this one for less, but look what I'm getting.
yeah, because, I mean, from the standpoint of I'm going to rent my existing property and move into another property, you've got to be sitting on cash because if the market's depressed, the lenders aren't lending,
Well, they are, but their guidelines will be tight.
which means you'll have to have more money down. So I think
You could.
your scenario is a little less feasible for the average consumer.
You're right, it could be. And that's why a lot of people, we do have to end up selling them. We got to show them the perspective of the whole picture. And so, that's what you're looking at. So now the difference between that market and this one is A, prices are not going up $5,000 a week. B, we have real buyers in the market with real cash that are really qualified that can actually buy with real lending guidelines, which Wall Street was involved, so we didn't have it back then. And now, even when we hit a market dip, it's just it's not as rogue as the example I gave, which was real stuff we were seeing.
Yeah.
People spending $300, now the property's worth.
150.
Yeah.
They're
I
stuck.
mean, literally, I remember this little area called Point Siena by Disney. If you guys have heard it.
I
Okay.
know what you're talking about.
In the market crash, brand new builds that were literally a couple years old were selling for $25,000
Should have bought
in
a
a
couple.
short sale. Hindsight, right?
Yeah.
So that's the point. I mean, it's just, and we'll never see that again because that almost caused a global economic crash, literally. So we just won't see that again. Banks won't lend like that. There's too much regulation. We just won't see it. So with that being said, this is where we are. And so what we're headed for, definitely a market dip because the market's been super strong. Now I think our market here,
Has been super stronger.
it's not going to see it as, it's not going to be as heavy hit as some other areas. So for example, when the market crashed in 2008, places like Florida, California, Phoenix, those hot areas took a more of a hit, if you will. But our area, the difference is people are relocating here. The boomers are retiring now. There's just a lot of other factors that are different. Coronavirus happened. People are allowed to work remotely. I don't think that's going to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, children are still at home. I mean, when's that going to stop?
Which leads to the next point, which is going to lead into the guest. So Hillsborough County actually announced the delay
by 4 weeks. So is that 4 weeks on top of the 2 weeks, or is that for a total of 6, or is that just 4 weeks in total from the 2 they've already done, which made it just 4 in total?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's more, but their start date at this point is supposed to be the 24th of August.
Well, that's not 4 weeks. They normally start in August.
They start in August, but usually early August. So they're usually starting by now.
Well, yeah, by now.
Yeah.
So we're just talking about 4 weeks from the time it would have started, not 4 weeks from the time they've delayed it to.
So what they're doing is they're actually going to be going to an e-learning platform. So they're expected to, at least for the first month, do like where you show up on a Zoom and your teacher is there and you change classes, but you're online.
I mean, part of schooling is to provide daycare for children. And part of schooling is to provide social interaction for herd mentality. So if we're taking away the social interaction to develop the herd, we're going to be stunting the emotional growth of our children.
By at least a 6-month time frame, right? So they are expected to go back.
Well, longer than that. I mean, we've started stunting them in March.
Yeah. I personally would be surprised if the first 9 weeks they physically go back at all. And I expect Pasco to follow. They haven't technically announced it yet, but we think it's going to happen. And, some of the other counties will do the same.
So if you get a choice, are you sending your kids back, or are you going to let them do e-learning?
My kids are like, yeah, we already filled out the thing, Mom. We're going back to school. I was like, wait a minute, the parents are supposed to do that.
Can't get the kids out of the house fast enough. I mean,
no, I have teenagers.
Otherwise, it's going to turn into the radio station's covered in pets this morning. I mean, there's guinea pigs in the kitchen.
There's guinea pigs in the kitchen. I gotta
There's
take
a
a break.
dog in one of the offices. It's whining.
I love dogs.
I'm like,
what
this
kind
is
of dog?
crazy. It's a
best day ever.
It's a big floofy white and brown one.
Mimi's air went out, so her pets are hanging out with us this morning, not in the studio.
Floofy white and brown dog.
Oh man, it's called the Tampa Home Talk Petting Zoo today, and I'm gonna go enjoy it after.
Well, I am glad
break.
I spent the last week watching documentaries on dog care and proper dog training. And this week I'm going to watch documentaries on sharks because starting Sunday is Shark Week.
You
That's
should
right.
have brought in a chicken in. Okay.
All right, so
not for a hunting dog.
That would be something if the dog chased the chicken around. Yeah, let's not.
You like how I segued us out of talking to the guest?
Yeah, right. So we're going to roll on over to our guest. I want to introduce Miss Nancy Millan. I had the joy of having lunch with her earlier in the week. She is actually running for Hillsborough County Tax Collector. And what you don't know about Nancy is she's literally spent 30 years already working for the Hillsborough County Tax Collector. So good morning, Nancy. Welcome to the show.
Hi, good morning, Katrina. Good to hear you. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. So jump on in. Let's tell our guests and let our guest, Miss Nancy, tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, what you did. You started out at the tax collector's office when you were so young. So let's chat about that, what you did, what you've changed, and what direction you're looking to go.
I'd love to. Thank you for having me, too. I was born and raised right here in Ybor City. My parents are Cuban-American. I'm Cuban-American. My parents are Cuban. I have a son who's 21 right now, so luckily I don't have to deal with all the issues with school like you are now. But I've been with the tax collector's office for over, I think a couple of weeks ago, it was 31 years at the tax collector's office, and that's 31 years of serving our community. I started out as an accounting clerk, and I worked my way through the ranks and to a leadership position, and I've been in a leadership role for 20 years, working hard with Doug Belden and the team. We have modernized and revolutionized the way we conduct business in our office. And people may not realize the tax collector has a tremendous responsibility to the residents of Hillsborough County. But I think oftentimes people don't really understand what we do. We have 8 branches around the county right now, and we provide everything from driver's license to collecting property taxes. We register and title your vehicles, issue birth certificates, hunting and fishing licenses, and much more. over a year, we serve over 1.4 million customers. So eventually someone in your household is going to touch the tax collector's office. And as I run to be the next tax collector, I think I think it's important for folks to know that experience matters, especially when we're talking about being fiscally responsible for taxpayer dollars. And as the next tax collector, I want to make sure that personal information is safeguarded. I want to ensure transparency and accountability to the residents we serve. And I want to streamline our services and provide more accessibility and continue with top-notch customer service. I think that's very important, Katrina, that people really are well-informed and know who they're voting for. And I think it's so important. I'm passionate about what I do, and you know that when we talked, it means a lot to me. I grew up in that office, and I care about the people, and I care about the services that we're providing to our community.
Well, I love that you have 3 decades of experience working directly with the tax collector's office. And so that part's just really cool because you started where? Where did you start with them?
I started in the accounting department, and I've worked all the way through to
Music has started. Hope you hear it.
being a customer service rep. I did property taxes. I actually worked in property taxes for a while and worked on delinquency and bankruptcy cases as well. So I've worked everywhere in there, and so it gives me a good perspective of every
25
department
seconds.
and what we should be doing and providing services for our constituents.
Yeah, I love the real world experience that you've brought to the race. And we're going to talk a little bit about how many residents you serve and what that revenue looks like that you'll be responsible for. This is Tampa Home Talk. Stick around with Nancy Millan when we come back.
And welcome back to Tampa Home Talk. This is Adam Talley with Talley Insurance, and we're talking with Nancy Millan, candidate for the Hillsborough County Tax Collector. And before we get...
With 31 years experience.
31 years experience.
At the tax collector.
At the tax collector's office. And before we get back to Nancy, we want to do our insurance tip of the week. And something that we're seeing in the market, I keep saying it over and over, but we are seeing the insurance rates go sky high right now. So if you're looking at houses, one of the things you look at obviously is the tax on it, but you also want to double check on the insurance. I would double check on the roof. I'm seeing homes that if they have they've replaced the roof, but they don't have a wind mitigation, it's almost double.
Wow.
So you need to be calling or texting 813-377-2775. Text inspection, get with Leo.
We're going to have to do more of those pre-listing home inspections, Leo.
We went
with the wind mits.
2 segments without even mentioning 813-377-2775.
It's our off-air number. You can call or text us there.
I am just on top of it today.
What's
Leo.
that number again, Adam?
813-377-2775. Call or text.
Yep.
Awesome.
So back to Nancy. Nancy, would love to hear a little bit about the number of residents that you guys serve, over how many offices, and overall, what does the revenue look like for the tax collector? How much money are you actually in charge of?
Well, we are in charge of quite a bit. Just on property taxes, we collect and distribute over $2.3 billion annually. And there's over 500,000 parcels in Hillsborough and growing every year. As you know, this is a popular place to live. And so it's a huge responsibility. And we see over 1.4 million customers a year. So I think, experience is critical in moving forward with this tax collector's office. We have 8 branches across the county. And my goal is to not, we can't continue to build tax offices all over the county because then, we're not being good stewards of taxpayer dollars. So we need to become more creative in how you can make our services more accessible. And as tax collector, some of the things that I really want to see and make changes on is adding more accessibility. Through COVID, it's been a challenge, but I see it also as an opportunity for us to really reinvent the way we provide service to our customers, and that is, for instance, having a virtual office that can sit with a customer using something like a Zoom and serving our customers online and walking them through a process and uploading documents from the convenience of your own home and avoiding even having to go to the office.
So let's talk a little bit about that, because there's a lot in what you just said, and that's not common for the way things have happened in past years for really any tax collector office. But talk about how some of these changes after COVID can save you money and resources and time for everybody. What are some of the things you have implemented or you plan to implement? And definitely, like you say, be good stewards of the money and save taxpayer dollars by not having to build additional buildings.
Right. We have put a lot of things into place as a result of COVID, and we are coming up with solutions daily. There wasn't a playbook on how to handle a pandemic and how to keep folks socially distancing and serve as many people. We've been really great at really looking at the safety of our employees as well as our customers with social distancing and making it appointments only right now. But to me, I see it as an opportunity with having, everybody's doing the Zoom meetings nowadays, and there's a huge opportunity to be able to offer online services via Zoom, having a virtual appointment and uploading documents and avoiding going to the office. That's going to be more people. People are getting more comfortable with conducting business online, working from home. So this would just be another extension of that. In addition, coming out to our community, having conversations with our people is another way that I believe that we can eliminate not having so many offices.
Say more about that. What do you mean by that specifically?
Well, I want to go out and meet with leaders. There's just, accessibility is defined depending on where you live and what does it mean. Meeting with leaders and defining what it's going to mean in your neighborhood. How can we assist in bringing the services out to you? Do we have a community town hall meeting and open up a little shop in a community center and offer services on a Saturday? Talking to folks and helping them through transactions. So there's many ways of providing accessibility. And in other cases, they just want to have online services. Let me do my business and I'm on my way. But not every community is going to be that way. So I think having open dialogue and conversations with our community leaders is going to be very important. And that's part of my vision for accessibility is going out into the community, making myself accessible, having conversations like we're doing right now, Katrina. I see so many opportunities in the future when we can even talk about property taxes and making sure people are taking advantage of discounts and other things that might be available that might be helpful for homeowners. And just educating them on the process of property taxes.
So, Nancy, you were talking a little bit about a community town hall meeting. Can you explain a little bit more what that's like? What does that look like? What is that for? Because I think I speak for a lot of the general population when I say that they either don't know what it is or have never been to one.
Right. Well, a town hall meeting, for me, I would define it as me opening up. Let's say I open up an office, one of our larger offices on a weekend, and invite folks to come in and just educate people on the process, what we do, what we're responsible for, answer questions. We could focus, for instance, on 1 week, we could focus just on property taxes. What are your discount periods? How maybe we can bring in the property appraiser to join us, because a lot of folks sometimes get the responsibilities of what the tax collector does and what the property appraiser does confused. So it would be really
they
nice
do.
to partner up and talk about the responsibilities and the roles of each department and how we can help them make a plan to pay their taxes. If they're not paying it with their escrow with a mortgage company, do they know that there's installment? There's other payment methods that are available that they may not be aware of. There's homestead exemptions and other exemptions that folks may not be aware of. So I think just having a meeting. We can put it and advertise it.
Yeah.
People to come in and just.
Well, I think especially people that move from out of state and they own property here, a lot of people do not know about the homestead exemption rules, laws, the discount. That would be really good to, have a meeting just for those folks. And you could do that even by Zoom.
Yes, even with realtors, I've talked to a couple, especially when you have new home owners, and just knowing the process of, do they realize that they inherit the homestead exemption if there was one from the previous owner? If they don't get a bill, what do they need to do? Because sometimes between that transition of the sale, the information doesn't get updated right away. So just little things that we take for granted, I think, are important to cover. I remember myself going through that and not knowing the process, and it helps when you work there, but there's lots of folks that we need to just walk them through this process. It's not something that there's a book or anything that, if no one tells you about it, you're struggling to find out. And so just having an open dialogue and really getting out there in the community and trying to promote awareness, I think, is important.
The exciting part, too, is you were recently endorsed by the Tampa Board of Realtors, which is really exciting.
Yes, very exciting. Along with many others, I'm really blessed and just so thrilled that I've had such a large support of all of our community leaders, Democrat community leaders, as well as the Tampa Realtors is a big one with, over, I think, 13,000 members. They too realize that experience matters in this race, and I think it's so important for people to make a well-informed decision when going out to vote.
Yeah.
I'm not a career politician. I'm very passionate about what I do, though, and I care about this office.
And Nancy, without getting too political, just a little bit of a side note, regardless of what party you're affiliated with, I think it's really important to try to get to know the people running for any particular spot, right, on the ballot. And so as the tax collector, what are some things that people should be researching on all of the people running to make sure that they're electing the right person?
I think they, it's easy. We have all this information at our fingertips. Just Google our names and do your research. I have a website, too, where you can learn more about me and my vision and what I plan for the future. But I would encourage people to go out and look who's on the ballot and do your research. Again, I think my career and my reputation speak for itself. Not only have I worked here with the tax collectors for 31 years, but I've also been very involved in the leadership at a statewide level and helping the Tax Collectors Association with a lot of the services we provide and moving forward with innovation. I've been involved. So I'm ready to start and with all good intentions and making sure that the taxpayers get what they deserve, the service they deserve. Again, providing accessibility and transparency is key. Having someone who is going to clearly represent the taxpayers and looking out for their best interests. I think is
well, I love some of the changes you want to implement with technology. I think that's really good, and getting rid of a lot of the wait times. I think that's a big factor for people.
Yes.
That they like to see change and that sort of stuff, and just overall, just the goodness that I think you'll bring.
Yes, and I think it's being honest, and one of the things that I acknowledge is that no office is perfect, but I'm certainly we are about improving. We're not going to get better unless we listen and learn what our constituents are saying and come up with solutions. And I think that's what everyone expects.
Right. And Nancy, you probably heard the music rolling in, so why don't you go ahead and give out your website where people can find more information about you and just read up on you particular as a person. Where should they go?
Thank you. Thank you, Katrina. Yes, to learn more about myself and my campaign, please visit us at www.votenancyMillan.com.
And
also follow us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, Nancy, Nancy, and then Millan, Millan. So vote NancyMillan.com. Great. Thanks so much for joining us, Nancy. And good luck in your campaign race. This is Tampa Home Talk. We'll be back in a minute.
Well, good morning. Welcome back. Leo Kane here with Barrel Engineering and Inspection, joined with Adam Talley for the Hurricane Minute.
The Hurricane Minute. I love it. Why don't you take it away on that one?
Well, we had Isaias that was a close scare to most of Florida. It did skirt the east coast of Florida, causing power outages in Broward, Palm Beach, and Brevard counties. But
Provided us with gorgeous weekend weather.
yes, I went kayaking the weekend on Saturday, and then I went swimming on Sunday.
What river did you kayak?
We like the Wiki Watchie River. It's
very
kind of a
nice.
lazy river.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But Isaias was the first named storm, I believe, and that's an I believe, and need to be fact-checked, to hit New York since Hurricane Sandy in 1986.
I think you're right. My memory's correct.
Was
Wow.
Sandy or Gloria?
I think it was Sandy.
Yeah, but it's been a while, so it was weird having my in-laws and my aunt and uncle from Long Island telling me about all this hurricane stuff and losing power, and I'm sitting there in a swimming pool
Yeah.
In Florida.
in Florida.
Notorious.
Yeah,
for
we're
the
just
storms.
so used to hurricanes down here. But yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, Boston was out of power. New York was out of power. Just when things couldn't get worse for those two cities, they lost power. It was funny when my aunt's power came back on. She's like, "We've been out of power for 12 hours. Is the stuff in my fridge still good?" I'm like, "Did you open your fridge constantly?" They're like, "No." I'm like, "You're fine.
Yeah.
Like you're perfectly fine."
Good tip for those listening
things they
that are
don't know.
new to
Yes.
the Tampa Bay area.
Yeah.
If you lose power, just don't
Open
the
your fridge.
refrigerator.
Take the things you know you're going to want out, stick
But,
them in a cooler, and don't open it.
And
had a-
bacon last on the counter.
Oh yes. That's one of the pre-cooks.
That was one of your tips.
That is, you pre-cook the bacon, and then
I didn't forget that
you
one.
pre-cook your bacon. You roast your garlic. That stuff can last on the counter for a week. Well, in an airtight
And
container.
if you have fresh eggs from an actual
Chicken, you're set.
you can just leave them on the counter. They don't even need to be.
They don't need to be refrigerated either.
Here
So,
we go.
She thinks my track.
Oh, here we go.
we owe a tractor story. But
Oh,
just to wrap up the
ooh, I
hurricane
do.
minute, they have, now that the Saharan dust has dissipated, they are predicting a very, very active hurricane season. We still are owed 5 major storms, and we're still owed about 19 more storms this season.
You know what that means?
Yeah.
Leo's going to come in like this on me.
Well, Leo's going to be gone next Friday because he's got to go to Melbourne for some damage assessment. But
Unless there's no storm, we might change his
there
mind.
is a tractor story that Katrina owes us.
Oh my gosh, I shouldn't have said anything. Anyway, so I didn't even give Leo the whole story, but we started talking about it.
You mentioned the word tractor, and I said, hold this for the air.
Yeah. Okay. So tractor.
Tractor.
So my husband's like a little kid on Christmas today because we ordered a tractor
Okay.
and he's going to go pick it up.
Wait, is this something you ordered like on Amazon? Like I want
No.
to.
What brand of tractor did you go with?
We got it from Rural King.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good.
So anyway, I'll tell you why we ordered the tractor. Because, well, we bought the other property. It was like
Yeah.
it's like an acre and a third. And, our lawnmower can mow it, but probably not well.
Get some goats and chickens and a fence.
I actually want some. Anyway, my son was moving the lawnmower from our house to the property to mow it, and it fell off the back of the truck. It fell off the back of the truck on a major road, and some people pulled over and helped him pick it up, and I'm going, you've got to be kidding me. Like,
Wait, so this is just a fancy lawnmower then?
it's an oversized, fancy lawnmower for a lot of property. Yes, with like a bush hog and a trimming
She's
mower
not going to be
and a
not going to be
bucket.
tilling the land and growing something.
Not at this very moment, no. But
I always wanted to have a wild pepper.
so the
forest.
property was so high when we got it, we couldn't see anything. It was like easy 10 foot tall.
I was going to say high in Florida.
Yeah.
10, 12 feet tall, Dade City.
That's tall. I mean,
That's tall.
for grass and weeds, and you can't see anything. Anyway, there was a whole tree in the back that fell over from the hurricane. They left it there. We never saw it because it was so grown
Oh, this
up.
is the grass that's 10 feet tall. So you have
Yeah.
like a literal Great Plain in your backyard.
Well, it's cleaned up now,
Think
but-
Jurassic Park, velociraptors hiding, that kind of grass.
Clever girl.
And there's like a whole structure that was like dumped there.
Where does the bear come in?
That's his story.
Oh,
I just needed to add to it.
I see.
So when
I
I'm
feel
in the
like that's
I've been
mocking
sitting here
us.
the whole time.
Speaking of Jurassic Park, when I pick up my chickens sometimes and I'm looking at it, I'm like, you used to be so scary 100 million years ago. And then I put it down and take a tag.
I thought you didn't like to touch anything that didn't want to be touched.
I occasionally need my eggs.
But do your chickens like you to pick them up?
When they're sitting on my eggs, they need to be moved.
Oh, the story's different. Okay.
When they're broody and they're just hovering over like 10 to 12 eggs and I need eggs for my quiche, they're moving. And they were scary 100 million years ago because those same chickens might have been a velociraptor.
Mm-hmm.
We're going on a bear hunt.
We're going on a bear hunt.
I feel like we're making a mockery of the hour, but that's okay.
I love Pat's little.
The wild
I love I just can't wait to see Katrina driving a tractor on Livingston.
now,
We're
to
going to
get
go
your-
do a demo today of
Did
it.
you get a straw hat to wear while driving
That's
the
my
tractor?
husband, not me. Katrina doesn't wear that kind
And
of
do you
stuff.
want a piece of wheat hanging out of your mouth or a
That's
piece
not
of
me.
spaghetti?
That's my husband.
Right, but did you buy it for him?
She bought it for her. It's like the bowling ball.
No, it's
I'm
all
talking about
him.
the hat. I'm talking about the get now. Overall, are we pro overalls? Are we not overalls?
I'm very
How are we-
pro overalls.
I actually have some.
Yeah,
They're very comfortable.
yeah,
I'll wear them next Friday.
yeah. Let's.
I won't be here.
Oh.
We'll
wait for
we'll
you.
have a whole overall show.
We'll overhaul the show. Overhaul the show? Yeah.
Anyway, so it'll be interesting, going back to the market watch real quick.
Anything
We
but
didn't spend a
tractors.
lot of time on that, and this is not the tractor show.
Looping it all back
Yeah.
together here.
No, I'm interested to see if this continues next week. Like if we have more listings, less pendings. Less pendings and more listings. That means the market's headed for more of a balance. We're not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
1 week is not enough to tell anything. Right?
I
Yeah.
agree. 1 week that's why we study the data week to week and we compare it month to month. And I just love this. I mean, we're normally this time of the year is a little slow because people want to move during the summer because of back to school. Mm-hmm. Now, no one knows what back to school is, so we don't know when that's going to happen.
Well, there's a lot of sales.
Do you move as a parent? Do you move based on what your school district's decision is?
There are a lot of people who do.
Actually,
Well,
looking,
not based on school districts, not based on.
Right. Oh, I know that. I was just saying.
It's a little
does
late to-
Coronavirus changed that.
It's a little. Coronavirus travel and schooling is just up in the air. Like Belize, we were originally go to Belize to grow our business down there. And the airport was supposed to open on the 15th of August, and we were going to make a trip down there. And I'm just like, no, I don't think we should. I don't think we should. Sure enough, 2 days ago they delayed the opening. So it's
Yeah.
just like, yeah, you never know.
Interesting. Brand new airport.
In Belize, no, it's just still the Belize City Airport.
Oh, okay. Okay.
so I did a quick little scroll through here.
We've got a lot of data.
I know. I'm going to put them actually in a spreadsheet so we can see it. This is the highest.
Oh, now you're talking my language.
The new listings, this is the highest number that we've had since we've been doing this every week.
No, I thought we had a
Nope.
1,200 there.
Nope, 1178
That
is
is
the highest number of
pretty
new
low.
listings we've had. And this right here,
Is someone calling you?
about a listing that I have trying to make an appointment. All right, our off-air number, 813-377-2775, 813-377-2775. That's our off-air number. We'll be back in just a moment. We are going to be joined by Allie Serrano. She is actually the photographer that took my photo for my new book. So we'll be joined by her next hour. We'll chat a little bit about that.
Oh, she took a picture of your hand.
Love where you live or we'll fix it. We'll be back. It's not my hand. We'll be back in a minute. Stick around.